April 17, 1943, 2:47 a.m. A submarine storage facility beneath the Admiralty Building, London. The steel locker is freezing to the touch. Inside, wrapped in a Royal Marine officer's greatcoat, lies the body of a man who's been dead for 3 months. His skin is waxy, preserved by dry ice that sends white vapor curling across the concrete floor. 2 men in naval uniforms stand before the locker, their breath visible in the frigid air. Neither speaks. The taller man, Lieutenant Commander Ewan Montague, Royal Navy Volunteer Reserve, adjusts his glasses and checks his wristwatch. Beside him, Flight Lieutenant Charles Chumley shifts his weight, hands buried deep in his pockets. They've spent 6 weeks preparing for this moment. 6 weeks of forged letters, fabricated identities, and lies so elaborate they require the approval of Winston Churchill himself. Churchill called the plan idiotic. He signed off on it anyway. Montague reaches for the locker handle. The metal groans as it swings open. Cold air rushes out, carrying the faint chemical smell of formaldehyde. The body inside wears a uniform of a Royal Marines major. His tunic is immaculate, brass buttons polished, insignia positioned with parade ground precision. A leather briefcase is chained to his left wrist. Inside that briefcase are documents that will change the war if this works. Chumley leans closer, inspecting the corpse's face. The man was 34 when he died. Pneumonia, the coroner said. No family. No one asked questions. In death, he's been given a name, Major William Martin, a service number. A fiancée who writes him love letters on rose-scented stationery. A completely fictional life. He looks the part, Chumley murmurs. Montague doesn't respond. He's thinking about the chain of events this body will trigger. The Spanish fishermen who will find him. The Nazi intelligence officers who will photograph every document. The telegram that will land on Hitler's desk. The invasion fleet that will steam toward Sicily while German panzers wait in Grease Point 400 miles away. In a bunker beneath the Reich Chancellery, Adolf Hitler is reviewing reconnaissance photos of Allied troop movements in North Africa. His intelligence network is vast, sophisticated, paranoid. IT has never been fooled. Not like this. Montague closes a locker. In 36 hours, Major William Martin will be loaded onto HMS Seraph, a submarine already fueled and waiting in Holy Loch, Scotland. The crew knows nothing. The captain has sealed orders. Operation Mincemeat has begun, and if anyone discovers the truth before the body reaches Spain, 10,000 Allied soldiers will die on the beaches of Sicily. Churchill's voice echoes in Montague's memory. I hope you know what you're doing, Commander. He doesn't. But it's too late to stop now. April 19, 1943, 11:23 p.m. HMS Seraph, surface 1,600 yards off the coast of Huelva, Spain. The submarine's conning tower cuts through black water like a knife. Lieutenant Norman Jewell stands on the bridge, binoculars pressed to his face, scanning the shoreline. No lights, no patrol boats. The Spanish coast is a dark smudge against a darker sky. Below deck, his crew waits in silence, unaware of what's packed in the forward torpedo room. Jewell knows he opened his sealed orders 6 hours ago, alone in his cabin, and read them 3 times before he believed what they were asking him to do. You will carry human remains to coordinate 37 degrees north, 7 degrees west. You will place the remains in the water at precisely 0430 hours. You will ensure the body drifts toward Huelva. You will tell no one. No explanation. No context. Just a corpse in a steel canister and a set of coordinates. Jewell climbs down the ladder into the control room. His executive officer, Lieutenant David Scott, looks up from the navigation table. Ready, sir? Bring him up. For sailors maneuver the canister through the narrow corridor, 7 feet long, 18 inches wide, packed with dry ice that's been sublimating for 2 days. They set it on the deck with a metallic thud. Condensation drips from the seams. Jewell unseals the latches. The smell hits first, formaldehyde and something else, something organic and wrong. One of the sailors turns away, covering his mouth. Jewell ignores him. He's seen worse. Atlantic convoys. Depth charge survivors pull from burning oil slicks. This is just a body. Except it isn't. Major William Martin lies inside, dressed in his Marine uniform, the briefcase still chained to his wrist. His face is pale, almost translucent in the submarine's red lighting. Someone has placed a photograph in his breast pocket. A woman in a summer dress, smiling at the camera. Jewel doesn't know who she is, doesn't know if she's real. It doesn't matter. What matters is the briefcase. Inside are 2 letters, both marked most secret. One is addressed to General Harold Alexander, commander of Allied ground forces in North Africa. The other to Admiral Andrew Cunningham, commander of Allied naval forces in the Mediterranean. Both letters discuss Operation Husky, the Allied invasion of southern Europe. Both letters confirm the target is Greece, not Sicily. Greece is a lie so detailed, so carefully constructed, that even Jewel, who knows it's false, finds himself half believing it. Troop dispositions, supply routes, landing beaches. The letters reference real units, real commanders, real equipment shortages. They mention Operation Brimstone, a diversionary attack on Sicily designed to pull German attention away from the real invasion in the Balkans. Every word is fiction. Every word is perfect. Jewel checks his watch. 0417 hours. 13 minutes. Surface conditions, he asks. Wind southwest 8 knots, Scott reports. Current will carry him northeast, straight into Huelva Harbor. Jewel nods. Huelva is perfect. A Spanish port city crawling with German agents. Franco's government is officially neutral, but Nazi intelligence operates freely on Spanish soil. Every foreign corpse that washes ashore gets photographed, documented, reported to Berlin. The Abwehr will find Major Martin. They'll open the briefcase, and then the real deception begins. At 0429 hours, Jewel gives an order. 2 sailors lift the body, carefully, reverently, and carry it to the forward hatch. The night air is cold, smelling of salt and diesel. The ocean rolls beneath them, black and infinite. They lower Major Martin into the water. For a moment he floats, face up, arms spread, the briefcase drifting beside him like an anchor. Then the current takes him. Slowly, almost gently, the corpse begins to drift toward shore, toward Spain, toward Hitler. Jewel watches until the body disappears into darkness. Then he seals a hatch and takes Seraph down to perched depth, silent and invisible, waiting for dawn. 16 hours later, a Spanish fisherman will find Major Martin tangled in his nets, and the greatest lie of World War II will come ashore. April 30th, 1943, 9:15 a.m., Abwehr Station, German Embassy, Madrid. Carl Eric Colental sits at his desk, smoking his 4th cigarette of the morning. The telegram from Huelva arrived 2 hours ago. 3 lines. Routine bureaucratic Spanish. British officer recovered from sea. Document secured. Awaiting instructions. Colental stubs out his cigarette and reads it again. He's been the Abwehr's chief intelligence officer in Spain for 3 years. Long enough to know when something matters. Long enough to recognize opportunity. When it washes ashore in a fishing net, a British officer, carrying documents, dead. He picks up the telephone. Get me Berlin. Priority channel. Within 6 hours, Adolf Klaus, Colental's deputy, is on a train to Huelva with a Leica camera and instructions to photograph everything before the British embassy demands the body back. Spanish authorities are cooperative, officially neutral, unofficially profitable. Klaus returns with 73 photographs. Colental spreads them across his desk, like a card player revealing a winning hand. Identity card, personal letters, theater ticket stubs, a photograph of a woman named Pam, an angry letter from his bank manager about an overdrawn account, and 2 letters marked most secret. He reads them 3 times. Then he encrypts them and sends them directly to Admiral Wilhelm Canaris, head of the Abwehr in Berlin. The message is marked urgent, absolutely reliable source. May 9, 1943, 4 p.m., Führer Headquarters, Rassenberg, East Prussia. The conference room is oak-paneled and suffocating. Adolf Hitler stands at the head of the table, hands clasped behind his back, studying the wall map of the Mediterranean. Red pins mark known Allied positions. North Africa, Malta, Gibraltar. Blue arrows, drawn in grease pencil, point toward the European coastline, toward Greece. Field Marshal Wilhelm Keitel stands beside him, holding a decoded summary of the documents recovered from Major Martin's briefcase. The letters are authentic, Mein Führer. Our cryptographers confirmed the signatures. General Alexander, Admiral Cunningham, both genuine. Hitler doesn't respond immediately. His eyes trace the coastline of southern Greece, Kalamata, Cape Matapan, the Peloponnese. Perfect landing beaches, close to the Balkans, within striking distance of the Romanian oil fields. It makes sense. Too much sense. What does Canara say? Hitler asks. He believes the intelligence is legitimate. Keitel replies. The Spaniards were cooperative. The British embassy made no unusual request for the body's return. Standard protocol. No indication they suspect compromise. Hitler turns from the map. His face is pale, exhausted. The Eastern Front is bleeding him dry. Stalingrad is lost. Kursk is coming. He cannot afford another disaster. And Sicily? Likely a diversion. Keitel says, the letters specifically mention Operation Brimstone, a feint to draw our attention south while the main force strikes Greece. Hitler nods slowly. He's built his empire on intuition, on recognizing patterns his generals miss. And this fits. The British are predictable, cautious. They'll choose the path of least resistance. Greece opens the door to the Balkans. Sicily is a fortress. Reinforce Greece, Hitler orders. Immediate effect. Pull the 1st Panzer Division from France. Redeploy the Luftwaffe squadrons from Sicily to Athens. I want coastal defenses doubled. Minefields. Artillery. If they're coming through Greece, they'll drown in the surf. Keitel hesitates. And Sicily, Mein Führer? Leave a garrison. Nothing more. The order goes out within the hour, across occupied Europe. Trains begin moving. Panzer divisions roll east. Luftwaffe wings redeploy to Greek airfields. Coastal fortifications are reinforced with concrete, steel, and 10,000 slave laborers working 20-hour shifts. In Sicily, German troop strength drops to 12,000 men. May 12, 1943, 10:30 a.m. Room 13, Admiralty Building, London. Ewan Montague holds a decoded intercept in trembling hands. It's a transmission from the Abwehr station in Madrid to Berlin, intercepted by Bletchley Park and decrypted 6 hours ago. The language is German. The content is unmistakable. Documents from British officer confirmed authentic. Führer has ordered redeployment to Greece. Operation believed imminent. Montague reads it twice. Then he sets it down and removes his glasses, pressing his palms against his eyes. It worked. Hitler believed it. Chumley enters the room, followed by John Masterman, chairman of the 20 Committee, the secret group controlling Britain's double-agent network. Masterman's face is unreadable. They've moved the Panzers, Montague says quietly. The entire 1st Division. Out of Sicily. Chumley exhales slowly. My God! Masterman walks to the window, hands behind his back, watching rain streak the glass. How many men are we landing in Sicily? 160,000, Montague replies. 7th Army, 8th Army, airborne divisions. And the German strength was 40,000, now 12. The room is silent except for the rain. Masterman turns. His voice is calm, measured, the voice of a man who has sent agents to their deaths and slept soundly afterward. Gentlemen, Operation Mincemeat has exceeded all expectations. A corpse and a briefcase have rewritten Hitler's entire Mediterranean strategy. Montague stands. His legs feel weak. When do we tell Churchill? He already knows, Masterman says. He wants to see you both. Tonight, he said to bring the photograph. Which photograph? Of Major Martin. Montague's throat tightens. There is no Major Martin. Never was. Just a dead vagrant from a London morgue, given a name and a uniform and a mission he'll never know he completed. The man who never was. The lie that saved an army. July 9th, 1943, 10:35 p.m. Airspace above the Mediterranean Sea, 12 miles south of Sicily. The C-47 transport shudders through turbulence at 8,000 feet. Inside, 32 paratroopers of the 82nd Airborne Division sit shoulder to shoulder in darkness, their faces lit only by the red jump light above the door. Private First Class Robert Murphy grips his reserve chute, trying not to vomit. The plane smells like sweat, oil, and fear. He's 19 years old. This is his first combat jump. Outside, the sky is filled with aircraft, hundreds of them, C-47s and gliders stretching in formation across 40 miles of airspace. Below, the Mediterranean is black and flat. Ahead, somewhere in the darkness, is Sicily, the island Hitler abandoned. Murphy doesn't know about Major Martin, doesn't know about the corpse or the briefcase or the panzers redeployed to Greece. He only knows what his lieutenant told him during the briefing. Heavy resistance expected, German and Italian divisions entrenched. This will be bloody. The jumpmaster stands, hooking his static line to the overhead cable. 2 minutes. Murphy's stomach drops. The plane banks hard left. Through the open door, he catches a glimpse of coastline, dark hills rising against darker sky. Traces arc upward, lazy and orange, stitching the night. Anti-aircraft fire blooms in silent white bursts, but not much of it. Stand up. 32 men rise as one, checking gear, tightening straps. Murphy's hands shake. He focuses on breathing. In. Out. Don't think. Just move. Hook up. Static lines snap into place. The plane levels out. The jumpmaster leans into the doorway, wind whipping his face, scanning for the drop zone. Go. 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 Murphy shuffles forward. The man ahead of him disappears into darkness. Then it's his turn. He steps into nothing, into wind and noise and the rush of freefall. His chute deploys with a violent jerk. Suddenly everything is silent. He floats. Below, the island rises to meet him. Fields, farmhouses, a road cutting through olive groves. He can see other parachutes blossoming across the sky, dozens of them, white canopies drifting like seeds. No searchlights, the NO concentrated fire. Where are the Germans? Murphy hits the ground hard, rolling through tall grass. He cuts his harness free, scrambles to his feet, rifle up. Around him, other paratroopers are landing, regrouping, moving toward the objective, a crossroads 300 yards east. The resistance is scattered, sporadic. Italian troops firing from farmhouses, retreating after a few shots. No coordinated defense. No panzer counterattacks. By dawn, the 82nd Airborne has secured every objective. July 10, 1943, 3:42 a.m. Gela Beach, southern Sicily. The first landing craft hit the sand at 0245 hours. Major General Terry Allen, commander of the U.S. 1st Infantry Division, wades ashore under a sky lit by naval gunfire. The battleships USS Texas and HMS Nelson are pounding coastal defenses. Pillboxes, bunkers, artillery positions dug into the hills. But the defenses are thin. Allen expected minefields, concrete obstacles, interlocking fields of fire. Instead, he finds abandoned trenches and Italian soldiers surrendering by the hundreds, hands raised, white flags made from undershirts. Where the hell are the Germans? His executive officer shouts over the gunfire. Allen doesn't answer. He's watching his men push inland. Engineers clearing obstacles, infantry advancing through the dunes, tanks rolling off LSTs onto the beach. The casualties are light, shockingly light. 12,000 German troops are supposed to be holding this sector. They're not here at BY noon. The 1st Infantry Division has pushed 3 miles inland. By nightfall, the beachhead is secure, 10 miles wide, 2 miles deep and expanding. The British 8th Army, landing on the eastern coast, reports similar success. Resistance is collapsing. Whole Italian battalions are surrendering without firing a shot. The Germans are fighting, but there aren't enough of them. Not nearly enough. July 11th, 1943, 8 a.m. German 15th Panzer Grenadier Division headquarters, Caltagirone, Sicily. General Major Eberhard Rod stares at the map in disbelief. Red markers show Allied positions. flooding inland from 3 beachheads, rolling over his defenses like a tidal wave. He has 4,000 men. The Allies have 160,000. Where's the 1st Panzer Division? He demands. His chief of staff doesn't look up from the radio. Greece, her general. Führer's orders. The Hermann Göring Division is trying to redeploy from the north, but the roads are bombed out. Air superiority is total. We're alone. Rod's jaw tightens. Greece. Why Greece? There's no invasion in Greece. The invasion is here, happening right now, destroying his division. Someone lied, or someone was lied to. Pull back Anna. Rod orders. Conduct a fighting withdrawal. Make them pay for every mile. They do. The 15th Panzer Grenadier fights savagely for 38 days, delaying, ambushing, bleeding the Allies at every river crossing and mountain pass. But delay is all they can do. There's no reinforcement, no relief, no miracle. On August 17th, the last German soldiers evacuate across the Strait of Messina to mainland Italy. Sicily falls. Allied casualties, 24,000. German casualties, 29,000 killed, wounded, or captured. It could have been worse, much worse, if the panzers had been there, if the Luftwaffe hadn't redeployed, if Hitler hadn't believed a dead man's briefcase. August 20th, 1943, 11 p.m., Room 13, Admiralty Building, London. Ewan Montague sits alone, reading the after-action reports from Sicily. The numbers are staggering. The invasion succeeded beyond all projections. Casualties were half the expected rate. German resistance, fierce but undermanned, crumbled in weeks instead of months. Sicily is now an Allied staging ground for the invasion of Italy, and it all started with a corpse. Montague closes a file. His hands are steady now. The trembling stopped weeks ago, replaced by something else, something cold and precise. He wonders if this is what it feels like to win a war from a basement office, to kill thousands of men you'll never see by manipulating the beliefs of one man you'll never meet. Churchill was right to call it idiotic, but idiotic plans, executed perfectly, can change history. Montague reaches for his pen and begins drafting the final report on Operation Mincemeat. He writes carefully, clinically, documenting every detail. The selection of the body, the forged documents, the deployment off Huelva, the Abwehr intercepts. He does not write about the fisherman who found Major Martin, or the Spanish coroner who signed the death certificate, or the German intelligence officers who photographed the briefcase and never suspected. He writes only what matters. Operation Mincemeat achieved complete strategic deception. Enemy forces redeployed per operational intent. Sicily invasion casualties reduced by estimated 30,000 personnel. 30,000 lives. Saved by a lie. November 14, 1943. 2:20 p.m. Abwehr Headquarters, Tierpitzufer, Berlin. Admiral Wilhelm Canaris stands at his office window, watching snow fall over the Reich capital. Behind him, on his desk, lies a decoded British radio intercept. Captured 2 weeks ago by a listening station in Denmark, decrypted yesterday by his best cryptanalysts. It's a routine message, nothing remarkable. A reference to Operation Husky. Sicily, supply routes. And one line that makes his blood cold. Mincemeat swallowed whole. Canaris turns from the window. He's 66 years old, white-haired, exhausted. He's been running German military intelligence since 1935, and in 8 years he's learned to recognize patterns. Coincidences that aren't coincidences. Successes that smell like traps. He picks up the intercept and reads it again. Mincemeat, an odd word. British slang, perhaps, but why would they reference it in a message about Sicily? He opens his file cabinet, pulling folders. Huelva, April 1943, the British officer, the documents. He spreads them across his desk and studies them with fresh eyes. The letters looked authentic. The signatures matched. The Spanish authorities cooperated fully. The British embassy showed no unusual concern. Everything was perfect. Too perfect. Canaris sits down slowly. His hands are shaking. If the British deceived him, if the documents were planted, Then he sent those recommendations to Hitler. He convinced the Führer to redeploy the panzers. He stripped Sicily's defenses based on a corpse in a briefcase. He lost Sicily. For a long moment, Canaris does nothing. Then he picks up the telephone. "Get me Calento, Madrid station." Immediately, the call takes 6 minutes to connect. Calento's voice crackles through static. "Hey, Admiral." The British officer, Canaris says quietly, "Huelva, April, tell me again how he was found." "Washed ashore in a fishing net." The Spanish. "I know what the Spanish said. What did you verify?" Silence on the line. "Calento, what did you verify personally?" "The document were authentic, Her Admiral. Our analysis." "Were you present when the body was recovered?" "No." "But did you examine the corpse?" The Spanish coroner. "Did you confirm cause of death? Time in the water? Decomposition rate?" Another silence. Longer this time. Canaris closes his eyes. "They played us." "Sir, I don't." "They planted him." The British. "They killed a man, dressed him as an officer, filled a briefcase with lies, and dumped him where they knew we'd find him. And we believed it. I believed it." Calento's breathing is audible through the phone. What do we do?" Canaris looks at the intercept on his desk. Mincemeat swallowed whole. If he reports this to Hitler, if he admits the deception, the consequences will be catastrophic. Heads will roll. Literally. The Führer does not forgive intelligence failures, especially failures that cost him an island. "Nothing." Canaris says finally. "Sir, you will do nothing. Say nothing. This conversation never happened. The documents were authentic. Our analysis was correct. Sicily fell due to overwhelming Allied force, not faulty intelligence. Do you understand?" "Yes, Her Admiral." Canaris hangs up. He takes the intercept, the Huelva files, every document related to Major William Martin, and feeds them into his office fireplace. The papers curl and blacken, releasing smoke that smells like failure. By the time his secretary knocks to announce his next appointment, the evidence is ash. The lie becomes truth, and Operation Mincemeat disappears in the classified shadows of a war still raging across 3 continents. May 8, 1945, 11 p.m., London. The war in Europe is over. Church bells ring across the city. Trafalgar Square is flooded with people. Soldiers, civilians, families embracing in the streets. Churchill addresses a nation on the BBC, his voice booming through crackling radios. "We may allow ourselves a brief period of rejoicing." In room 13 of the Admiralty building, Ewan Montague sits alone in darkness. The room is empty now. The files boxed and sealed. The maps taken down. Operation Mincemeat is classified top secret, locked in vaults that won't open for 30 years. The official record will say only that Sicily fell due to superior Allied planning and execution. No mention of the corpse, and no mention of the briefcase, and no mention of Major William Martin, the man who never existed but saved thousands of lives by dying twice. Montague thinks about the vagrant whose body they used. A man with no name, no family, no future. Pneumonia killed him in a London hospital. Montague gave him purpose. A uniform, a mission, a place in history that will never be acknowledged. Is that redemption or desecration? He doesn't know. Outside, the celebration continues. Fireworks burst over the Thames. People dance at the ruins of bombed-out buildings, singing songs of victory. Montague stands, puts on his coat, and walks out into the noise. He will never speak of this operation publicly. The Official Secrets Act forbids it. But sometimes, late at night, he'll think about the fisherman in Huelva, the Spanish coroner, the German intelligence officer who photographed the briefcase. The moment Hitler looked at a map and said, "Greece." One lie. Thousands of lives, and a secret buried so deep that even the men who executed it sometimes wonder if it really happened. Epilogue. The truth about Operation Mincemeat remained classified until 1996, when British intelligence files were finally declassified under the 50-year rule. Major William Martin's real identity was GOYNDWR Michael, a homeless Welsh labourer who died from rat poison in London. January 1943. His body was preserved for 3 months before being deployed off the coast of Spain. The letters in his briefcase were written by British intelligence officers and signed with forged signatures of real military commanders. Every detail, the theater tickets, the love letters, the bank overdraft, was fabricated to create a believable identity. Hitler never discovered the deception. Neither did the Abwehr. Officially, Admiral Canaris, who may have suspected, was executed in April 1945 for his involvement in plots against Hitler. Unrelated to Operation Mincemeat, the invasion of Sicily succeeded with far fewer casualties than projected. Allied forces captured the island in 38 days and used it as a launching point for the Italian campaign. GLYNDWR Michael is buried in Huelva, Spain, under a headstone that reads, Major William Martin, Royal Marines. His real name was added to the grave marker in 1998. The man who never was finally got his name back. 55 years too late.